Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today for local AHJ reporting instructions for state mandated inspections. All right, so for your reporting of your health and safety code mandated inspections, these are the inspections we talked to you about during your stats and regs classes. You will come to the state farmers website, which is osfm.fire.ca.gov. And then once you get to our website, you'll come up to the section that says what we do. And then you'll come down to fire life safety. That is the division that we work in and where you'll report to for your inspections. And you'll scroll down to the section for state mandated inspections. And if you open that up, you'll find a couple of links here. The first link is the letter that we've been sending you every year that talks about the requirements of the health and safety code and reports that have to be made and when they have to be made by and things like that. We have updated it this year for the section where we discussed that we were trying to build a system to report through. We updated to tell you that we have the system to report to, which is what today's webinar is about. Other than that, the letter has remained the same. It does provide a link to our website here and does provide you the email address that you can email any of your questions to, as well as your inventory spreadsheets, and we'll go over that in a minute. Second link that is provided is the reporting instructions for how to use the GOVmotus system. So the first thing is that starting tonight, if you've given us your information, we have set up an account for you, and you will get an email with your account information and password. Then you can log in. If you have not given us your information, you will not receive one of these updates. So if by tomorrow sometime you have not received an email with a GOVmotus username and password, please email our helpline and let us know so we can work on getting you set up. Hopefully you all receive it if you have. If not, again, please email so that you can report to us. For logging in, you'll just come to our web address here, and in the instructions document, you should be able to click on this link and it will take you there. You'll log in with the temporary password that we gave you, and in a minute, I'll show you where you can change your password to whatever you would like it to be. A sample of what you'll see when you log in is a screen that looks like this, where it'll have your AHJ's name, and then it will talk about the requirements of the code. There is a button up at the top of the screen for license verification. This is something that the vendor that makes this program included because it allows you to look up like firework licenses and things like that. Should you feel the need or want to do so, you can do it through this function as well as going to the Fire Engineering's website and looking at their list that they've got there. You'll see lists of buildings that are in our inventory or database that's showing that fall under your jurisdiction, and information about those buildings, and then there'll be some controls on how to report, and we'll go over that stuff in a minute as well. Okay, so for understanding the dashboard, once you log in, you'll see your dashboard. We'll have the list of buildings. Currently, this will include all high rises, jails, places of detention, Group E schools, R1s and R2s. We'll talk about it again in a little bit, but I want to make sure I cover the Group E's and R1s, R2s. We did not have enough information to make a system-wide sweep to make complete determinations of which buildings should or should not be displayed to each AHJ based on whether they are a paid department, an organized department, or if they're all volunteer. We took what we had and what we already have shown as being assigned to the AHJ that would be responsible for it, and that is what will be displayed to you. If you're a paid department and you do not want to see your E's and R's on your dashboard that they're showing there, you can give us the list of those buildings that you see on a spreadsheet and send it to us as an update with notes to say, please remove these, and we will get those set to a different setting so they will not appear on your dashboard the following year. For volunteers, the Group E's and R1s, R2s will appear on your dashboard because the law says that you can defer, or you need to work in coordination with a paid AHJ, or you can defer those inspections to the OSFM. So we need you to have the ability to do that through the system. Each building contains several pieces of data about the building, including the last known date it was inspected, and options to select whether your jurisdiction or the state fire marshal will be performing the inspection for the current year. And these selections will take place of the written notification to our office that was previously required. State mandated inspection responsibilities. The OSFM already has jurisdiction over state-owned properties, but for the changes that came out under SB 85, for specified state-occupied buildings or portions of buildings, if it contains one of the conditions specified in CBC section 1.11 for the OSFM's jurisdiction, it could be that some of those require both an inspection by the paid local AHJ and the OSFM for their respective portions of the building. In that case, an inspection will be on your dashboard for your portion, and we will have an inspection on our side of the system for our portion. For local AHJ mandated inspections, all Group E schools and R1s, R2 occupancies shall be inspected annually. These are not required to be reported to the OSFM, but are required to be reported in accordance with Health and Safety Code section 13146.4. Additionally, in the Health and Safety Code, the Group E schools that are outside of corporate cities and districts providing fire protection services fall under the responsibility of the OSFM. All high-rise structures will be inspected annually. The reports will be submitted to us within 30 days. If you're not going to perform the inspection, you need to notify us no later than June 30th of every year. Any structures that are both a high-rise and a Group E, or a high-rise and a Group R1, R2, will be the responsibility of the local AHJ to inspect. That inspection cannot be deferred to us, but the report will still be required to be provided as it is a high-rise building. All jails and places of detention will be inspected every 2 years. They are by default the responsibility of the OSFM, but if your jurisdiction wishes to perform the inspection, please notify us no later than June 30th of every year. Provide the inspection report within 30 days of the inspection, and it needs to go to these 4 governing bodies. For areas that rely on an all-volunteer fire department to provide fire protection services, volunteer local AHJs need to elect on their dashboard whether the inspections described will be performed in cooperation with a neighboring paid local AHJ, or if they're going to defer them to the Office of the State Fire Marshal. For submitting reports, in your dashboard, you will provide your report by using the report inspection button that appears after you elect to perform an inspection, and save your choices. The reporting screen has a few basic questions and a place for you to upload your department's inspection report. Once everything's filled out and your report has been uploaded, you can select submit inspection, finalize your report, or if you're not complete, you can save the draft and you can come back to it later on. If you do not complete the reporting process for a building that is a jail or place of detention for the year the inspection is due, our system will require an inspection report to be completed the following year. This will reset your 2-year inspection cycle starting with the current year. This is an example of when you click report inspection of what you would see on the screen. It has the name of your AHJ. It has the OSFM file number. It has some information about what to do on this screen. It contains the building information. And we ask for things like the date of inspection, inspector's name, phone number, and a couple of different radio buttons for information about the inspection, and plan of action, or if there wasn't one required, you can put NA in here. Then you can click here for manage documents and you can upload your report. And then if you're done, you can click submit, or you can click save draft. It looks like we have a question in the chat, so I'm going to pause and read that for a second. Question is, if the jail requests annual inspections, do we update the OSFM with that or continue with biennial? If you are going to inspect annually and you'd like it to show up on your dashboard annually, please put that on a spreadsheet that we send you and send it back to us, and we can update that building's frequency so that it says annual, and that way it will appear on here if you would like it to appear on here on an annual basis instead of biannually. Updating your inventory list. Should you find that there are buildings that are on the list that we've given you on your screen, but that are not within your jurisdiction, or if you have buildings within your jurisdiction that are not on the list we provide you, if there's buildings on your list that no longer exist, or if there's any information about a building on your list that is incorrect, please fill out our inventory spreadsheet, email it to this email address so we can update our database so your screens will have the information that you need. There's another question in the chat. Do we submit a final report after all corrections have been made? Good question. I'll answer that question in a second. Are there any questions about the information we've gone over in this document so far, other than the ones that are already in the chat? All right. I'm just going to go to an example of, this is a test version of our site. This will be available to you starting tomorrow. So at midnight tonight, we will be activating your accounts, and you should get those logins. You'll come here. Please do not click register. If you don't have an email, this is what our people that are submitting to us for plan review or special events do. This is how they register for a public user account. Your accounts are more of an internal basis. And if you register, we will have to get you unregistered as a public user so we can convert you to a local AHJ account. Once you come here, type in your email address and your password and log in. When you get here at the upper right corner, you'll see a thing that says welcome and your name. If you click on that, this is where you'll sign out. You can also update your password here, and you can edit your profile with whatever information will let you edit. It will not let you edit your email address, but it'll probably let you edit name and phone number should those pieces of information change. There is an option for help instructions here, but also as the screen scrolls and those help options go away, the help options are also available here on the side of the screen at all times. The top section here has information about the requirements that we talk about in the letter we send you every year. There's just more information about it up here, and a lot of it's repeated information from the letter. There's ways for you to sort. So for those of your jurisdictions that have a large quantity of buildings, instead of scrolling forever, you can specifically filter out if you want just high rises or buildings that are not high rises. You can filter out for different program classes that are listed in your dashboard. So if you know you have county owned adult detention facilities in your jurisdiction and you don't see that here in your program classification, we either don't have a file for your facility, or we have one, but for some reason we don't have it set to your jurisdiction. You'll fill out the spreadsheet with the information of that facility. We will look that up in our system and either create a file to attach to your account, or we will adjust the existing file that we do have for that facility and get it over to your dashboard. You can also sort by whether you have elected to do the inspection, you've deferred it to the OSFM, or if none of those have been made yet, like this option that is shown here. You can increase the page size in these increments. And if you have more pages at the bottom, there's an option to load more pages. Once you've chosen one of these choices, I'll do this for example for high rises, you need to click search so that the settings that you searched for will apply. And then to undo it, you can go back to viewing all results again. There's a couple more questions in the chat. Before I move on, I'll answer those questions. For Gregory Fortune, we're still going to come back to yours, I promise. I'm not forgetting about it. We'll talk about it in a second as we talk about the rest of the screen. Question about sub accounts to your AHJ. We do not currently have an ability for sub accounts to your AHJ. It is something we will write down as a potential enhancement in the future and see if we can make that something that is possible. We'll have to talk about with the vendor and see about the system requirements and how it functions and see if that's something that is doable. Basically, in the meantime, if you make it to where your password for your account is something that your staff uses, then they can all go in there. You can sign in multiple places or with multiple instances, so it shouldn't be that when one person is signed in, another person can't be. So you can have several people in there at the same time. I do know that. Next question would be, oh, same question. Okay. Chief Margolis, you had your hand up for a second. Do you have a question still, or did you want to say anything?
No, I was just trying to draw your attention to the two questions because they were pretty pertinent to where we were at. And I know once you get on a roll, you're just so thorough that I wanted to make sure you saw that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so coming down here, again, this is the, each one of these is a building. And there's information with our internal file number, and then facility name, building name, program class, address. There's lots of pieces of information here, whether it's annual or biennial. Also, whether a report is required to the OSFM or not. So this one is a yes, this one is a no. What we'll do is, and I'm going to go ahead and make some selections here. This is a county adult detention facility, and if I'm the AHJ and I say I'm going to select this, I'll select this one. This is for a residential facility. This jurisdiction I have set up is for a jurisdiction as a volunteer. If this jurisdiction was for a paid jurisdiction for something like this building, where it is residential, we would not see this here. You would only see this radio button and the name of the jurisdiction. And this would automatically be chosen, and there would be a button here that says View Inspection. And when you click View Inspection, it will show you a pre-populated report that was automatically closed by our system with notes in it that says there is no report required to the OSFM for this building. We have to close it. We have to have a document attached for our system to register it as being closed, and that's why there's a pre-filled out report in there. But as this is a volunteer account, our occupancies are something that the volunteer could determine that they're going to work with the paid local department around them to get these completed, or they're going to defer them to us. So I'm just going to make a couple choices just to show what you would typically see. This is a high-rise and an R, so I'll select that. You'll also see some notes. This is a building, and you will not see anything like this. This was for testing, so where I could specifically identify that this one was something that was an and, so that as we tested, we could confirm this note appeared. This is a building where it would be under SB 85, where portions of the building have to be inspected by the OSFM because of a certain specified state occupied condition. But the remainder of the building will need to be inspected by the local AHJ. In the case of a high rise, as those can be deferred to the OSFM, you have the choice of performing the inspection yourself or asking the OSFM to take the rest of the building and perform the inspections throughout the building. Once you're done, I know I have more, I'm just not going to do all of them. You'll click save. Dashboard will reload. And when you've made a choice, the radio buttons will be grayed out and you won't be able to click there again. And if I filter for elections that aren't required, I can see the ones that I didn't complete yet. So you can go find those. In this one here, I elected that as the AHJ that I'd be performing the inspection. That brings up the report screen. And again, there's some notes at the top, the building information that you saw on the previous screen. You'll choose a date. The date is limited to the year that the inspection is due. So for inspections that you elect to do and you perform later in the year, like in December, because the law says you have 30 days from the date of inspection to report those inspections if a report is required to the OSFM. You will be able to choose a date from the previous year until January 30th. Beginning January 31st, the date will be the report from the previous year will be automatically closed, and it will have a note in it that said the report was not submitted to the OSFM. And then the next year's inspection that will already be in the system will only have a date selectable for the current year. You put your name in here, your phone number, and the questions we ask you to answer are: is the building in compliance with applicable regulations? Is it vacant? Has a plan of correction been accepted by the fire department? If a plan of correction has not been accepted, what action has been taken to achieve compliance? If a plan of correction was accepted or not required, please enter NA in this box down here. When you're going to go upload your report, you'll click Manage Documents. It will bring up this window here. You can choose a file. When you click here, it'll open your computer's file explorer system. You'll find your file and you'll select it. Once you see the name of your file here, then you'll click Upload. Once you've uploaded it, it will appear down here below. Files are limited to 250 megabytes, and you can only upload one file at a time if you have more than one document to upload. Going back to Gregory's question, so I don't forget about it. After you've submitted your inspection, if you're done, you can, and in fact, I'm just going to fill this out really quick so that we can actually show it. I want you guys to see it. Oh, I have to upload. So this is the one that I was working on. It now says the status is complete. And this report inspection button changed to view inspection. So for Gregory's question, he already submitted his initial, and now he wants to provide some additional documents. He can click view inspection. He can come into here, he can click manage documents, and he can upload more files. That is pretty much the whole process. You'll do that for all of the items combined. You can see here that where the AHJ chose to elect to do an inspection at a school, it does not require an inspection be reported. It just says that gives you the option to view it. And actually, these should be filled out. I will figure out why these are not filled out, but this should be filled out with the date of the election, and then there should be some notes in here that says report not required. I wonder if it's just not in this exact testing environment, but it's going to be in our live environment that way. Our test environments have a lot of data in it that are junk data intentionally for testing purposes, and sometimes it does cause issues like this. But I have seen it work. It should be filled out that on this date it was selected and there is no report required, will be commented down here. And that's it. That's all we really have. That's how our system is going to work. Are there any other questions regarding this process or what to do or how to use the system? For the E's and R's, if you are a paid department, they will already be, you will not have this option for deferral. It will be automatically selected for you and it will automatically have this view inspection button in place, as what happened here. The example that I chose here where I had to make the choice is because the account I'm using is set up as a volunteer department. And because the law says the volunteer departments need to decide whether they're going to work with a neighboring paid department or have the OSFM do it, both options are here. Does that make sense for Darla? If you're a paid department, they should automatically, if you're from Fresno Fire, they should automatically close and have this view inspection button and not a report inspection button as shown here. The question is for if they're in compliance and no plan of action is required, do you click no? So let's go back to the reporting screen. So if they're in compliance, if you click plan of correction is no, if there is no, a plan of action is not required, you just put NA down here. So you'll click, are they in compliance? If there's no correction plan, you will click no, and then down here you can put NA because it wasn't required. For John Weber for a UC campus, that is a two-part question. If you are currently with UC Davis Health, who has chosen to use our GOVmotus system on the same fashion that the OSFM uses it, they will be reporting their buildings the way that we report our own buildings. If you're a different UC campus, yes, you will come here and report these buildings into the system. We should have your files or most of your files in the system. I can't guarantee we have all of them. Again, if you didn't get an account tomorrow or you don't see something on your spreadsheets that you should or your screen that you should, fill out a inventory spreadsheet and send it over to us so we can look into that. For Sarah, yes, the document you are uploading is your inspection report from your district or department. That's correct. For Kevin, let's go back and take a look at this. I want to make sure you have the email address. It is OSFM local info update at fire.ca.gov. The email address has been active for several years. We get emails to it every day. I just want to make sure you've got it typed out correctly. Or maybe there's a problem with my link. If you're clicking in the link and it's not showing up as deliverable, try sending it to what's printed here. And if that doesn't work, let me pull up a different document so you can get our help email. This is just so I can provide a separate email if you're still having issues. I'll leave this up on the screen for you to write down as well. This is our helpline for plan review. If the other email address is not working still after you try it again, please email this address and we will try to figure out the issue. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Sorry. One more thing to show you. On our website, I'm going to leave that for a second longer here. In fact, I'll just put this in the chat. I don't know if I can actually. I don't know if I can copy that. Nope. Will you type that in the chat, please? Let me go back here. There's an important thing I need to talk about with the spreadsheet. I almost forgot. With our spreadsheet here, it is an Excel file. We are working with the people that run our website. It will let you download it. But when you open the file, based on the software that they use for our website, one second, I gotta close this so that it doesn't, so it does what I want it to do. When you initially open it, we're not sure why it doesn't like Excel files, but it opens it in what is called protected view. They'll say that up here. And the problem that we have with that is that if I zoom in, there are certain cells like these cells up here that we don't want you to be able to click in or change, but the cells below them we want you to be able to type in, but it's not letting you. We're working with them on getting the format corrected so that that will work. As a workaround until we get it to where it will happen naturally, if you come up to File and you hit Save and click Enable Saving, it will save the file to your computer out, not in a protected view, and then these cells that we intend for you to be able to type in, it will allow you to select those cells and be able to type in them. We are going to fix that so that when you download it, it just functions exactly as it should. It's just a little snag we're running into, and the person who created the spreadsheet will be back next week, and we will get that worked out. But in the meantime, there is a workaround. You can come up here and save it, and then it will work as normal. You can fill it out, save it, and email it to us with any of your updates, modifications. And on the far right-hand side, there's a comment for comments and the reason for update. So tell us whether you're, it should be a drop-down actually, so you're adding a building, removing a building, or updating a building. And then any kind of notes you need to add as well. Question for Amy. The spreadsheet is not redundant. The spreadsheet is what we were having all of you do currently before our system is going to go live tomorrow. We were having you fill out the spreadsheet to tell us whether you were doing the inspections or we needed to do. And then you were submitting the reports to us via the same email address for the local fire info update email address. And then we were putting those into our system files. This will take place. The spreadsheet is just so that you can inform us of any changes to what you see on your screen or buildings that you're not seeing on your screen when you sign in.
Josh, also, or actually to everyone, every time that you have a new building built, which most cities and towns are growing rapidly everywhere, once you have a building that qualifies to be reported to us, we'll need you to update that via that spreadsheet as well. So that spreadsheet's going to be around forevermore, pretty much.
Yes. There's another question in the chat. There are multiple schools at one location. We report by the address or the names of the different schools. You need an address for each building anyways. It's a required field for our files. So you'll have the address and the names of the different schools. Please show us the different mandated inspections. Sure, I think the best place to do that is through the letter. So in the Health and Safety Code, there are 4 buildings or occupancy types that require inspections on either an annual basis or for jails at least a biannual basis. Those are jails, high rises, schools, and R1, R2 occupancies. And in our letter that we send out and that is on our website, it goes over all those code sections and where that stuff lies and explains what those requirements are.
Also, as a cheap plug to our stats and regs class that's offered throughout the state, we go over that in depth with a lot of the other laws and regulations for inspectors.
That's true. Chief Margolis, would you want to answer the question that was asked about where do condos fall?
So condominiums, it depends on how it was built, but if it has the required firewall in between them, they are individual R3s. If they're built more like an apartment complex, then it's an R2. But again, you would have to go back to the original plans to see which determination the architect made at the time of design.
For Justin Gibson's question, yes, the requirements under the code are for the buildings with buildings that are high rises or buildings of certain occupancy types receive inspections, and each inspection is per building, not per campus, if you will. And as far as the addresses, it doesn't be that each building has to have a separate address. They can all have the same address, but their site. So their address may all be the same, but their facility name will all be the same for name of the school, but their building name would be what the building is. So it could be classroom 1, or if the classrooms have names, and that's how we would differentiate it. But each one of these would be for each structure on that school campus. Kevin, you had your hand raised. If you have another question, you'll have to put it into the chat. You are correct, sir. I apologize for that. We will get that fixed. What Kevin's pointing out here is that this email address at the top of our document is missing the word fire in it. So the actual email address is down here. Thank you, Kevin, for catching that. We will get that fixed. Justin, can you expand on what you mean by time frame? The law says that for high rises and jails, you have to notify us by June 30th every year whether or not you will be performing it or we perform it. And then the inspections have to happen annually or by jails biannually. And they have to be reported within 30 days of that inspection. So you have, if you're electing to do it, if you elect to do those inspections in January, you would have the entire year to perform the inspection and 30 extra days into the next year to report it. There is no time frame, but you're update the spreadsheets and send them over to us, and we will get them put into the system. For Jennifer's question, correct. The only occupancies that are required to have reports uploaded to us is jails, and then a building type as a high rise, regardless of occupancy, does have to have reports sent to us as well. Question from Kevin: does this process replace the form we fill out for detention centers? I believe we took that form off of our site. I don't think we have that shown anymore. If you're still using that form, you can fill that out. You'll just upload that as your report. So normally you fill that out and mail it to us or email it to us. Now you'll just fill it out and upload it on the reporting screen through this function here. One more question in the chat. Yes, every building has to have an inspection. If you have an apartment complex with multiple buildings, yes, each building requires an inspection. Gregory, to answer your question, if you're a volunteer, yes, you would list out your applicable R's by address in the spreadsheet. If you're a paid department, an organized fire department, and you wish for your R's to be displayed on your GOVmotus dashboard, then yes, you would provide that to us. If you do not wish them to be displayed and they're not already on your dashboard, you do not need to include those to us. And if you have some on your dashboard and you want them to not be displayed to you because they're not reportable to us, if you're a paid department, we update your spreadsheet and ask us to have that removed, and we will set it in the comments. Just say you don't want that to show, and we will change the settings on that specific building to not show up on your dashboard. Some more questions in the chat. Yeah, I'm not sure what your department currently does for the law. The buildings get inspected and have a report. And our system, our file numbers are per building, so that the information for each building is documented in a file, not a facility where all the buildings are thrown into one giant pile. It's all sorted out by building. If you cannot determine the construction for a condo, got to be some kind of way to find that out, either through existing plans or the construction. Got to have a firewall in between. So there's got to be some signs that would help point to you as to how it was built.
So condo, you should have it in your permit process, because if it's a true condo with the required wall that has absolutely no penetration, along with that, that is also considered a property line. So if you don't have it, I'm sure the building department would have that information.
If you're not sure if your department has a login already, you can send the email to the email address, and I'll go to the correct one with the word fire in it. You can email that and we can take a look. Also, you'll know because you will not receive an email tomorrow. Tomorrow at midnight tonight, we should be sending out, the system will send out automatically to all the accounts we've been given information for. They will send out emails with logins and password information. If you do not get one tomorrow, we probably do not have you on record. So you can email us here, and on the inventory spreadsheet where it has information at the top for your information, and we can get you set up. Yes, one login per department. Email that we're using for the login is the email address that you provide. So we ask for your department's name or your district's name. We have a choice here if we already have you in our system. If not, you can manually type out your department or district's name if it's not already something we have in our system. And then you'll provide your local general email. We ask that you don't use the fire chief's email because if the fire chief changes, the email address will change. And then when we create that, when we go to provide that new email address, it will create a new account. And then we will have to go switch all your buildings over to your new account. So a general email address for your department, any email platform is acceptable and applicable, would be your best course of action, so that as the fire chief changes or other staff member that is using their personal or individualized, I should say, email address come and go, your account information will stay all in one place if you have a general email address. Then we ask for a contact number. If you're a volunteer or paid department, you do that with a drop down. And what your local AHJ FD ID is, put that information here. For Daniel, you're not misunderstood. You still only need to report your jails and high rises to us. We did not, when we built this, have enough information to make a system-wide sweep of all the departments and determine who is paid, who is volunteer, and which buildings that we have on record for them are schools in R1s and R2s. So we're just displaying everything that we have onto your screen. If you see E's and R's under your screen and you're already marked as a paid department, they will appear there. They will automatically close and have a pre-populated report that has a note that says, this is not required to be reported to the OSFN. If you're a volunteer department still has to choose whether or not they're going to work with a neighboring agency to perform your E's and R inspections, or if you're going to refer to the OSFN. If you're going to work with a neighboring agency, you'll select that you are going to do it, and then it still does not require you to submit a report. It auto closes it and creates a pre-populated inspection report that says this inspection is not required to be reported to the OSFN. And yes, you'd be correct. You would report it to your city council or other governing body that you have. For Pat, how you can confirm the email is currently on record. Email our helpline. Let me go back to that. Email this address here, and we can take a look at it for you. Also, you'll know if it's you'll know which one you get if you get an email tomorrow. If you don't get an email tomorrow, email this helpline, and we will figure out whether the email address we have for you is different, or if you didn't have one in with us yet at all. We have another question. High-rise has corrections. Do you want the initial report downloaded or wait until everything is completed? It takes all of 30 days. So according to the law, as soon as you've completed your inspection, the report is due within 30 days. So your initial report would be uploaded here within 30 days. And then if you're talking about everything being completed, if that is corrections, your subsequent inspection reports, if you can come in here and click view inspection, it'll open this screen back up. You can click on manage documents and upload additional files. Looks like we have some questions about two questions that I think are the same about is a follow-up report required. Chief Margolis, I haven't attended your stats and regs class in a little bit. Is there anything you guys are informing on in that class about follow-up inspections?
No, we usually tell them once they report the original one that they've met the mandate for us. The follow-up falls under their jurisdiction as far as it being their building and their corrective actions and the steps they take from that point forward to get them to correct the deficiencies.
Okay. So not a requirement. Should you like to put it in here for documentation purposes, I'll go back and show the steps. You'll come in here to something that was completed already. You'll say view inspection. You'll click view inspection. You'll come down here and click on manage documents. And then you can choose another file to upload with the files that you've already uploaded previously.
It would definitely leave a clear legacy in case you moved on to something else and someone else picked up your inspection records to upload that when you could, but it is not mandated.
All right. If there's any additional questions, please, I'll put it back up here again on the screen. Please email us at this email address, and we will get you some answers. Otherwise, thank you for attending. Our hope is that the process of logging in and electing and reporting is fairly straightforward and simple to do. But should you need any assistance, please email us, and we will gladly work with you over the phone or set up a Teams meeting of some kind to do a screen share and help walk you through any of the things that you have to do. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. Thanks for attending. Enjoy your day. And again, look tomorrow for the email smart system. Thank you.